Good morning, everyone. Want to check the sound first. Happy Tuesday, November 6th, 2018. Can you let me know if you can hear me okay? Don't want to have the problem I had yesterday where I muted my mic accidentally clipping it onto my collar. Okay, I hear nobody saying sound yet. Loud and clear. Thanks, Ron. Okay, good. Appreciate that. So, welcome, everyone. Glad to see you all here. Good morning, Dr. K. Hey, Big Easy. Steven. Ron, did you get that gas tank in your car? Are you in the shop, or what's up with that? Gonna try to keep this picture. I moved my arm, not my arm, but the arm of the camera up a bit so that if I move it up or so, I'm not cutting anything off. My voice is cutting out a little bit. I think I got that. I don't know, that thing that's going around, but not bad enough. Could have just been all the talking I did on Sunday. Sorry about that, Ron. I really am. That's a nice car you got there to have that happen to. When I had my Charger and some guy hit it, the police were just like, "Oh, it's such a pretty car," and they kept saying that. They go, "Oh man, a nice car to get hit," and I'm just like, "Oh, would you just please stop?" All right, so um, it is Venom, Dr. K. Gonna get started on him uh, right now. So, without further ado, let's get this started. Oh, okay. So, your Dodge garage or whatever is, or maybe your insurance, I don't know, is supplying you with a vehicle. That's cool. And I am back to my dip brush again. I keep going back and forth on the pocket brush. It's got its pluses and it's got its minuses. The big minus for me on it is, I'll show you in a minute for you people that are interested. I'll show you what my biggest, and I'm working my way around it. Um, it's just kind of a matter of a preference thing right now and getting used to it. Okay, so you see this is where that brush goes. And this one, while it's shorter, you see how quick this tapers down to a point. So with this natural, dip brush, I can control it more than I can with this one because the taper is so fast and it goes so fine. Even this goes fine, it's got a little heavier body into the hairs here. So I'm more used to that. Therefore, it's a little more comfortable. So I haven't given up on it. I do, you know, it's it's like any new tool. There's a little learning curve, I suppose, involved, and I'm just gonna have to work my way through it. But I just felt like picking up this brush this morning and getting busy with it again. So that's it. It's not like it's a big deal. It's just preference. I also really hate putting a piece of white paper. I'm gonna have to find some chipboard or something because I don't want to ink on this surface, even though this is just hardwood that I had cut at Office Depot and put over my white drawing board because you could only imagine what the lights coming off a white surface would do with lights coming down. The reflection into a cast would be not good. So, but I think I'll get some cheap toned paper, maybe like at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. That crafting paper or something is very inexpensive. So fix that up soon when I get a chance to get out there. Maybe today. Maybe I'll take a ride out there and grab some. So I, if you all, I'm pretty sure most of you probably did, saw my new thumbnails I made after our discussion yesterday. And personally, I think they look great. I think they're much more attractive and look better. So I'm glad that I took the time to make that little template, and moving forward, I will continue to use it until I come up with a better idea and change my mind again, which does happen. So what did you all think of the new thumbnails, those of you that saw them? My voice almost left me there. I saw them. And for those of you that haven't seen them, maybe you can leave a comment. Thank you, Dr. Kaz. Yep. Uh, I was I was pleased with the outcome of them. And when you go to my YouTube, wow, don't know if y'all heard that, but that was a little PC reminder thing that I guess there's some new drivers that I could install for some of my hardware. And but yeah, so the thumbnails, I thought, you know, thought they really turned out good. So thank you all for the input yesterday and letting me pick your all's brains on them and get some suggestions. I think adding the finished drawing to it is really cool. So going forward, that's what we're going to be doing. Oh yeah, Ron. It's interesting. When did you look last? Because, like I said, sometimes I've noticed that YouTube is a little funky with my uploads, and when I make a change, stuff like that, it you know, it might take a little bit of time. Hopefully, I kind of saw a change immediately yesterday. It was weird. I know when I do the Friday streams that might go on for 4 hours. Sometimes those aren't even rendered fully until the next morning. If you go back to try to watch it, you pick it up somewhere in the second hour. So this YouTube is still a learning process for myself. Still learning little tricks and stuff about it. Fun. I want to be able to teach my son Jacob. 5 going on 6. He already wants to be a YouTuber, and that shouldn't surprise most people. And I will encourage him to do that, but at his age, I will have to be responsible for being a chaperone for him. I have seen kids doing stuff, but there is always a parent involved. So eventually, we're going to get the little guy set up, and once that happens, he's kind of shy until he gets the likes and stuff. I've had him on Facebook Live a few times, and as soon as people will give him a thumbs up or something, he gets all excited. Uh, which thumbnail, Dr. Katz? The ones I'm using? I made those in Photoshop. If if that is the ones you're talking about. Oh yeah, the background is still the ink bottle, but you're saying that the thumbnails are still the ink bottle things too? Because those are just the live events upcoming. They just use right now. I think I can only use my background image, and I'm not even satisfied with that background image. I just got tired of it using my J and B monogram because it didn't even make it look good. So I just took a picture of some ink bottles here in my office and put that up so I'd have something uh, a little, more, a little better looking. That will eventually get changed out to um, supposed to have somebody, friend of mine, come do some photography stuff, and I'm gonna get a little creative with some of it that I can use for going to conventions. Number one, I need a new headshot. Gotta get a haircut first. Man, I need a haircut. Um, and then just some other ones in my office and around downtown that I that I can just use for my website and whatever. Previous or upcoming? Because I did go through and it'll be like the ink bottle ones should just be the daily live draw upcoming events. Thank you, Big. So those thumbnails, if you go into my playlist and go into the daily draw, you should easily see the first 6 episodes with new thumbnails. Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking is, I put on there the upcoming live streams just kind of so people can see what's planned in advance. And I think even on those they give you a little remind me underneath so it would trigger an alert if you don't have the little, if you subscribe to the channel, if you don't have the bell thing, if you click the remind me, I think it will send you a reminder. But I think they look good. I was happy with them, and they didn't take long. The longest part was getting a layout, just one layout, and then it just use it as a template. Um, it's easy to go in and just change the episode and the character name and drop the artwork in and resize it real quick. So the hardest part was figuring out what layout kind of wasn't too much, wasn't too wordy, but was enough kind of make it bold because they're fairly small. So, all right. Slowly we build. I I think they're I think it's called OBS, Open Broadcast Source or something. I think that will allow me. Now here's the problem. That will allow me to upload a custom thumbnail for each live stream. The only problem is I won't have the drawing done, so maybe I'll know what it's going to be that day. Maybe I won't, but uh, I could at least put it up there and just put a question mark. And each one would be different. It would have the date or the episode number. And so I've been putting off, it's free software to use. It kind of helps YouTube out some, but I've been just trying to get comfortable with YouTube first before I go any further. Thanks, Ron. Glad you, you know what? It's good for me too. It allows me to go back and uh, know what drawing I did that day too, that episode. You know what? The teeth to me that's the easiest part because you don't have to really, they're all over. They're not straight. Uh, there's no rhyme or reason to them. You just you know, you can really just explore and, no braces on Venom. So, I could even have one coming way out here. I could have like more in the back. So don't be intimidated by that big. Just let your let your imagination kind of go wild on them, because there is no real, you know, I would say correct way, I guess, to do his teeth. Venom's a very it's kind of like, one of the Batman type characters. You can kind of put your own um, mark on it. You can play around with it, I guess, is the main thing. Is you got a lot of leeway to experiment. And if you get a little confused, hey, don't be afraid to pull out reference. Mama's wrong again. What's Mama wrong on, Ron? That's a funny comment, whatever you mean. But oh, okay. I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I remember it's one of those ones that one of those guilty pleasure movies. It is kind of a classic in its own way. I guess we should be proud if we like it, not embarrassed, not a guilty pleasure. It made us laugh, and that was the purpose of the movie. So success. There you go. Just draw different Venoms every day for a month. But don't be afraid to Google reference. I draw Venom enough where I really don't need to, but you know, just like Captain America, I can sit down and draw him. But like when we had Batroc, I think Steven asked for him. I had to, I had to go to Google and Batroc, look up reference. Reference is your friend. Oh, thank you, Big. Appreciate that. Hey, Big, was that you that tweeted out about my live stream? I got a lot of nice. I got like 3 or 4 new followers, and that got a lot of likes. I know it was either you or somebody that is usually in here, and I'm pretty sure you said you were gonna gonna do that. Promote the channel. Well, thanks. It does help. Like I said, I've got a few new followers off of it, and I'm sure you saw the likes on the tweet. So I appreciate the help, buddy. Yes, that's what it was. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. Good deal. Glad I can help. All right, Big. Thanks for dropping by. I'm sure you'll watch the rest later, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, buddy. Take care. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, it's awful quiet in here today, but that's okay. Excuse me. Now, Friday, I heard from Pat. Pat can't make it again, um, unless unless we, unless I go extremely long. Then he said he could probably bounce in for a while. But Craig and Jared will be in at least for as long as they can. They can hold out too. So it should be a fun Friday. Hopefully, we'll find 3 new people to uh, get some sketches to. I sent everything out yesterday except for the ones that are for Dr. Katz. Dr. Katz. Yeah, Dr. Katz. Dr. Kaz, and for Ron, because they have multiple stuff coming. And and Doc still has some stuff this week, so just simplify it, make it one big mailing for him and for Ron. Let's see. I'm thinking I'm about ready to take out my big brush and really nail these blacks. On Venom. Let me make sure I'm ready to get the big get the big stuff done. Boy, my voice is it's disappearing. It's not warmed up yet. I guess I need to constantly speak so those vocal cords stay stretched and taken care of. Good morning, Robert. How are you doing? Yep, that's what I'm thinking. Dr. Kaz is better have it in one super package than trying to keep up with a bunch of smaller ones. So I'm glad you're good with that. Yo, Billy Ray, what's up? Good to see you, so to speak. No problem, Robert. Glad you could make it. I am hard at it. Yes, sir. It's been a while since I since I spoke to Smitty. Now that you brought him up, how about yourself? You had any contact with him? I mean, I see him posting stuff on Facebook, but probably the last time I spoke to him was at some convention we were both at sometime this year, I'm sure. Just can't remember. Yep. That's at least something Facebook is good for, is reminding you of birthdays. Because I wouldn't remember them if it didn't send me that little reminder. I think most of us are guilty of that, though. But hey, Ryan, I was just gonna mention that I haven't seen Ryan yet this morning. I did get your email, just haven't replied to you yet. But those were some good suggestions. So maybe that maybe that can happen. Maybe that'll work. I believe he must be. I'll let him answer that. I think he's still in the room. Um, Oh yeah, this is just doing dry brush. It works really good with some toning over it, or not. Sometimes you don't even need it. But I think I kind of have to keep that up now that I started it, and that's fine. It's good practice and good learning for me. No, I kept the cap like it was because after looking at it, it seemed like it was dark enough. I didn't want to go more dark on his mask. Um, it looked fine. I probably could have, and either way, it was one of those. It Either way it could have went, and I just felt like, you know, if I put on and go too dark, then I would regret it. So I figured since it was to my liking as is, to leave it. That's a good time of comics, Dr. Kaz. That time period in the '80s comics was very fun. A lot of good creativity coming out, I think, around that time. Of course, I could be a little bit biased, but I know a lot of people that feel the 80s was the last great decade of comic books. Boom, there it is. You know, Ron, my friend Zablo, Craig, he he used to be able to tell the story better. Uh, he put it all together one time about it was my fault for all the variants, and it really was funny. I didn't realize I had kind of mm, this some of the projects I worked on, and I'll give you examples. Okay, so starting with Secret Wars, that was the first big uh, company, where all the characters, big event type thing started. So that kind of opened the floodgate for, oh, we need a big event every year now. Not just, I mean, Secret Wars was just supposed to be one thing, but due to the success of it, it spawned that every year. And then DC copied it with, what was it, Crisis, I think. Um, and then every year, Marvel and DC were both doing these big event things. Um, Something I think the Punisher miniseries was the first. Their miniseries were happening, but the Punisher was the first 5-issue miniseries, and that's why you will see the books, and they will have the messed up indicia where it's like the very first one, number one in a 4-issue miniseries, and it was always supposed to be 5, but no one had done 5 before. Um, so when it went to production, they just put the stat that they had of number one in a 4-issue series. So that, you know, Punisher became the first 5-issue, although there was a lot of confusion around it, miniseries. No variant covers, but there were airbrush covers on those, and can't remember at the time if that was something or not. um, Trying to think what else was all involved. Let me take a look in the chat and see if anyone's helped me. Hey, Shannon. Good morning to you, buddy. Um, so yeah, kind of interesting there. Then I'm trying to think of the timeline. I'm doing the first 5 issues of Legends of the Dark Knight, and that was the first new Batman book in 30 years, 40 years or something. So I go out to Houston for a well, actually I think it was a store appearance. And the guy that picks me up at the airport, he's carrying a bag and I don't think anything about it. I mean, I just got off the plane. he's taking me to baggage claim, and he's carrying a bag, and I just figured he had picked something up at the airport, maybe a snack or something. But he then asked me, he's like, I got a question to ask you. And I'm like, okay. And he reached in the bag and he pulled out 4 issues of Legends of the Dark Knight. And he goes, how come you didn't tell us that there were going to be 4 variant covers? Because now everybody's going to want one of every color. I don't know if you remember those first ones. They had like a cover on top of a cover, and it was a different color. And I was shocked. I didn't know. I knew nothing about that. And I told him, I said, well, this is news to me. And he goes, oh, you did, I said, no, they don't tell me that stuff. I said that, I have no need to know that. So I found out about it. Just, they found out about it before I did. When the books came in, I was on a plane. So they were basically trying to, and I don't know if they were successful or not, trying to buy other comic book stores copies, because they knew they were going to be short, short of books. What else was there? I don't know. He had this whole thing. And it really made sense. So one of those little weird things that happens, that you're not aware of until it happens. And then he kind of mapped everything out once and laid it out. And the first time he did it, man, he was on point. He had all and then he tried to tell it again later, and he's like, I think I'm missing some details or something. I'm like, yeah, seems like there was more, but can we just forget about it? Because I don't want to be blamed for the demise of the industry. As you know, as it went under due to oversaturation and variant covers and just publishing too many books for the speculator market and not for readers, not for people that were going to be there once the industry went boom, which it did. And I think, maybe you all remember, I remember, Bill might remember. I was living over in Orlando in this time, but it was like gas stations. Literally every corner, uh, you know, seemed to have a comic book store. So, you could literally go across the street and go to another shop. And then once the boom hit, they slowly disappeared. Some of them were only around for 3 to 6 months, depending on when they got in and when the boom happened, where the bottom fell out, where people suddenly that would go in and buy all these number ones and new books and stuff, and thought they could, you know, within 3 months go back to the same person they bought them from and sell them for, you know, 20 or 30 or $50 a piece or whatever nonsense was going on. So there was that time. And after that implosion, it never really uh, it it just never the industry never recovered. Funny because when they tried to do a movie or something back then, the movies bombed. Now the movies are doing great, and the comics are in a struggle to stay alive. But what are you gonna do? Can't go back and rewrite history, as they say. Yeah, that's true, Ryan. Or the classic books that are always going to hold their value. Those you can always bank on. Bill, if you're still in the room, do you remember like all the stores around that time that popped up in the Orlando area? How many we had? I mean, they were just popping up everywhere. It really was like the gas station analogy where, and you still see that with gas stations. It's like every corner has a gas station. Now, I kind of understand that because it makes it convenient unless you're very loyal to one brand of gasoline. If you need gas, you don't have to get across the road or something. You can just pull in it, fill your tank up, or get however much you need. Maybe if you know, they all have the little convenience store. I would say most of them do, so you can get something to drink if you're on a trip, or even if you're just driving around your town and you know you're already stopped, so you'll go ahead and make that purchase at the gas station for that bottle of water or drink or whatever. Hey, Don, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm liking the way this is turning out. I think we gotta, or I should say, I think Dr. Kaz has a keeper for sure. Hey, back 441. How you doing? Yeah, this entire week probably is a keeper. Were you on a? Did you show up in one of the Friday streams back, or is this your first time here? I think I've seen your name once in the stream before. Hey, Tater. Yep, I feel you there. I'm kind of in the same situation here in Daytona. Uh, but I kind of like to have a nice store to go in and look around at. I don't really purchase that much comics anymore. Um, a lot of them don't interest me, so I buy very limited. But here's what I like. I like to be able to look at the independent stuff because I may pick that up um, if I can thumb through it and it catches my interest. So the days of me buying books without getting some sort of a decent preview are kind of over because I've been burned too many times where something looks, and this is probably more the fault of the big two. Something looks good, and I'll I'll get it for the first 3 or 6 months, and then it just like it's either over or not not as good as I thought it was going to be. So I check out of it, so to speak. All right, so Oh, well, thank you, doctor. And thank you for showing up back. If you haven't already and you feel interested, you could hit the subscribe button for me and a little bell will pop up if you want to be notified when I'm live or I will have some videos coming that I've recorded and then edited down. So if you want to be able to know when those drop, that little bell gives you a little bit of I guess, a warning, or just lets you know when it's available. No, no, nope. Uh, no red carpet. In fact, I can go in a comic book store. Just the people that really know me that still have stores locally around the Orlando area. Um, Actually know me, still know me. Let me see what I got here, color wise or gray wise. I think I'm gonna go a shade darker, so dip into black, go into water. Let's see. I think that's gonna do a better job. Let me get a little bit of the wetness out. Let's see what gives you all a better look. Excuse me. I think we're pretty much gonna do this wash all over his black areas. Leave the tongue, but not completely alone. A little too dark there. I guess the humming won't help. I just actually, man, come on, vocal cords, warm up. I guess I need to talk, tell a story or something. But I'm kind of involved in this, and I'm having a good time. So if we're all comfortable, then I'll just continue at this work pace and pulling the camera back does allow you all to see me mixing the ink wash a little bit. Oh, thank you, doctor. Glad you like it. Let me tone this back a little bit. I love doing this. It gives me a better go in dark and then hit that. I think it would actually be okay if if I left it that dark, because it's gonna dry a little differently. But I'm gonna actually have to experiment a bit and like take a darker color like this and just see how it does dry on the final, because I just don't want it to be too close to black. Although there are those instances where, once you see the scan, it may be hard to visualize it on the stream. I get that. But I'm sure once I put up the scan, you can see the nuances in the shading. So for all I know, I um, could be wasting time. And that's not a good thing. Shouldn't be wasting time. It's one thing we can't get back. But when I'm creating, I don't feel like I'm wasting time at all. So no worries there. I just kind of get lost in the process and see what happens and study it, and that helps me to improve what I do. I think that's a I think that's a good way of looking at stuff. Three. I kind of like doing this on the spider, so I let it dry just enough, and then I don't do a hard dab. I just do a soft dab, and it leaves a little bit of the tissue texture, and it just gives it a cool look to me. Now I will pick this gray up very quick. And I'm not going to be so particular around his teeth. I just want to indicate his tongue has some sort of, color to it. So the tissue also gives the tongue some texture. And we'll get lighter as we get out of his mouth. I want to be able to start doing ink wash at conventions. To be able to add this extra tone in. All right, so I believe last little thing I'm going to do is a light. Let's see. Spider type scents. And I will try to fill in a little bit. Okay, I got most of it. Looking good. A little bit darker. Extras. There we go. Boom. And again, I'll wait till this is good and dry and go back and put my signature on it. Probably run it up the side here. All right. I think I think we're going to call that one done. Thank you, Doc. You can watch the replay, Bill. How about that? So probably the only thing I will do that I didn't do on stream, and it's only for the fact that I really want it dry, is splatter some, do a little quick splatter of white ink, get a little spittle, get a little white and the black, just a little spray, not too much, just enough to give it a little bit of texture. Now I say that, and sometimes I get carried away, so yeah, I'll definitely add a little bit of white flecking into the black, and maybe even a little bit of darker gray around the background. But right now that's got to dry, and we are about an hour and 44 minutes in, so I think that's good for the day. I appreciate everybody for coming out. If you popped in and haven't subscribed, please do. If you haven't liked the video and you like what you see, I appreciate it. And I guess all things being good today, I appreciate it and hope to see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. where we will do it again. Thank you for Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, Robert, I might be at that show next year. That's the Louisville SuperCon. I just noticed that you were telling the doctor about that. I believe I will be there next year, if it's the one that that I'm thinking of, which I think it is. Yep, that's it. I will be there in 2019. So everybody have a great day. If you feel like leaving a comment, please do, and I will give you an answer. I will reply when I get a chance. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for the support. I appreciate y'all, and I will talk to you later. Y'all take care now.